Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pesky Pole Podcast. We've officially hit 80 episodes, going strong. I know I've been out for a couple weeks, but like I said, busy at work, all that fun stuff over the summer. Y'all already know it's been a struggle of a summer. But joining me for this episode, some may call him a legend. All right, it is rumored that once in a high school game, they had to stop the game because all the girls came running out on the field to go hug him. It is rumored that this man once threw a touchdown pass in the Canadian Football League. Right? Beautiful man. Brian Costic. Brian, what's good?
Rob, you're gonna make me blush. That's quite the intro there, especially since you think that I go to Canada to go play football. It's really shameful there, but I'm doing pretty well today. MLB trade. Yeah,
My man's just offended
like
all
that
the
one.
Canadians listening.
Yeah, no, screw Canada. I really don't care. But I don't. Sorry, Rob. It's let's get right into it though. But MLB Trade Deadline, really pumped about today. A lot of stuff coming down the pipe in baseball news. Really happy to get into it today with you.
As y'all know, Brian is the host of the show at Down to the Wire, which I'm assuming if you're a regular of our show, of my show, you've already checked his show out. But for those of you who are new, that's his show. As always, it'll be linked in the description. So after you get done watching this, go into watch his show, which is more about sports in general. He'll cover every sport. I'll cover MLB today, mostly Red Sox, so you already know. But make sure you hit that follow button so you can see whenever I go live every single week. We got a ton of trades to be looking out for, and I will be constantly checking my phone because right now it is 4 o'clock, so the trade deadline is official right now. But we all know some of those deals come in later, right?
Yeah, a lot of stuff at the trade deadline can get finalized, and typically around 4:30, everything is certain. By now, all the deals have to be official and be sent off to the MLB office. There might be some physicals pending, some stuff like that, which can, linger after the deadline. So, gonna have to look right now, and we're gonna see what ends up happening.
100%. And we're just gonna go through every trade from July 28th to now. We're gonna spend a lot more time on some trades than others because there's about like 30 to 40 trades on here, but some will just be filler trades, as you will. All right. Without further ado, you got anything to say to people before we start?
I say we just get right into it because if it comes down to it, and this is all the Red Sox ended up doing at the trade deadline, Rob, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm pretty pissed.
Oh, okay. We'll save that for the end of the episode where we'll truly talk about the Red Sox in general and how there's actually we'll do it once we get into their one trade that they made. But first of all, first thing on July 28th, the Reds got a couple pitchers from the Yankees for a player to be named later. That's exactly what the Yankees need to be doing, is giving away some pitching when all they've done is suck at pitching. I don't get that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, when it comes to it's just been crazy in general. I mean, just looking around the league, like some teams obviously address needs. Like you looked at, teams like the Toronto Blue Jays getting guys like Jose Barrios, but then you look at the New York Yankees, and I do think it was smart of them to go out and get two left-handed power type guys. You look at that, the way that ballpark is mapped out, and you're trying to put a bunch of powerful righties in there. Get a guy like Gallo who can absolutely just destroy the baseball. I was looking at it, kind of a graphic of him. It was some of his balls put in play and even some outs. There were some flyouts that at Yankee Stadium will be home runs, and there were about, like, I'd say maybe 14, 15 of them this year that were considered flyouts that had he hit them at Yankee Stadium, they would have been home runs.
Jeez. We'll get into that one in a little bit though. But the Reds started making a little bit of like low-key moves. They said they added a couple of pitchers. Next, they added Michael Givens for 2 other pitchers, which Michael Givens, I mean, he's had a 2.73 ERA throughout the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a solid arm to add. I mean, having an ERA, typically under 4 now in the MLB with the amount of offense that we sometimes see from season to season is considered good. I know that, we had like an uptick in strikeouts and pitchers dominating this year, but ever since the enforcement of illegal substances, the offense has started to go back up. And having an ERA under 3, you can't discount that. It's a great ad.
Mm-hmm. And I saw this thing, this baseball page that I follow posted this today, like 40 minutes ago, and I couldn't stop laughing at it. And it said, hold on, let me get it up so I can quote it exactly, but it was just so funny. Give me 2 seconds. It says, trade deadline is so much like dating. At the beginning, you're super picky, but towards the end, when everyone else is taken, that 3.87 ERA ain't looking so bad. I mean, in all honesty, that's exactly what we were like in the 2019 trade deadline. Like, you know what? Andrew Kashner? Not bad. But
I mean, it's not, well, it wasn't great, but I mean, it was Andrew Kashner.
Yeah, Andrew Kashner, to put it bluntly, Andrew Kashner is that 3 out of 10 that you take home when you're super drunk, thinking you're going to get very lucky. You get lucky, and then you look over in the morning, and you're like, oh, God. That's, yeah. It's a nice way to put it.
I was just going to say, in a more tame way to put it, I was just going to say Andrew Kashner is that guy who kind of just exists. I mean, there's nothing really that good or that bad about him. I mean, he's not going to be, yeah, pretty true. Yeah. Fair.
Okay, point. Another trade
he's just one of those guys. Yeah.
What are you going to say?
I was just going to say, like he's just one of those guys that you look on a team like all the way across like the country, and it's just like, oh, like that's just a guy. Like I'm just like, I don't need him on my team. Like he just exists to fill a roster spot, and I'm just like, why did that have to be our move?
Mm-hmm. No, that was a drunken mistake. We'll call it. That was a drunken mistake by Mr. Dave Dombrowski. Go rotten hell. No, okay. The A's acquire Starling Marte for Jesus Luzardo. Now, on the surface, this looks like a really just good trade for both sides. All right, Marlins I believe they're still like middle of the pack. I've been watching a ton of Marlins games this year.
Yeah, fair point. I mean, they had that playoff run last year, but I think, they were able to use that shortened 60-game season to kind of really get the best of what they had. I mean, they ended up going down anyways. So I think that I think right now they're just trying to get the best kind of prospects they can. They're building a young core right now with Jazz Chisholm and other guys like that down there. And I think you end up getting more young guys in there like that. Maybe 3-4 years down the line, they're a team to be reckoned with.
Absolutely not. It's the Marlins.
Well, I got to give them hope, Rob.
There's no hope. Let me see where our next big trade is. Cesar Hernandez for Connor Pillington. I don't care. Ashton Gordo goes to the Reds. Or to the Rockies for cash.
Well, Rob, I do have one. Apparently, there is one more deal that has trickled over since the deadline has expired. It is not in the Red Sox favor, however. It's going to the Yankees.
Oh,
they've just come through and they've acquired left-handed pitcher Andrew Heaney from the Los Angeles Angels. He'll be going there. The return right now, I do not know the return at this time.
Let's waste all of our future, literally the entire future, just to make a wild card team. Cheers.
Yeah, and that may not even happen. I mean, the Blue Jays are going to be going for it too. They're gunning for it. The Yankees are sitting in 4th place right now. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it.
Me neither. But we're back in. Blue Jays acquire Brad Hand for Riley Adams. Riley Adams has been struggling in his time in the MLB. He got sent up. He's 25. Got sent up earlier this year and went 3 for 28 with 12 strikeouts. Yikes.
Yeah, it is kind of a yikes thing, but good for the Blue Jays on acquiring Brad Hand. No matter what he's kind of really done this season with the Nationals or what he was really doing in general, he has a proven track record of just being a solid reliever. I know he had some time over in San Diego, then he went to Cleveland, had some success in the playoffs there. all around, he's just kind of a proven guy at this point who, just seems to be a great pickup for him. Great bullpen guy.
Yep. 100%. And plus, if you know Rangers, Cubs, or Nationals fan, give them a hug. And some stiff whiskey. They need it. Kostif, you can agree, right?
Yeah, I can definitely agree.
Okay, let's get into the first true.
Ooh, another. I know I'm kind of coming in and out, but another close source from Jeff Passan of ESPN. It was at 3:53 p.m. Nothing has been confirmed at this point, but it looks like Chris Bryant maybe close to going to the San Francisco Giants.
Oh hell no! Oh god. I'm not sure if we're going to get into this one later, but Jose Barrios was traded to the Blue Jays.
You didn't see that?
Nope.
And also 2 minutes ago from Jesse Rogers, John Lester is going to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, John Lester, just RIP that man's career. Okay, but first true MLB version of a Woj bomb that we saw. And we'll get, at the very end of the episode, we will get into that one Woj bomb that we had on draft night. Yankees acquired Joey Gallo and Joely Rodriguez in cash from the Rangers for Ezekiel Duran, Josh Smith, Trevor Halver, not Trevor Bauer, Trevor Halver, and Glenn Otto. The Rangers' massive haul in terms of number of Yanks' top 30 prospects. 23 years old, Josh Smith, 22-year-old Duran, who are the number 14 and 15. Halver's number 23 and Otto's number 28 in their system. So you gave up 4 top 30 guys for
that is
Joey Gallo.
That is mind-boggling. I mean, just looking at that whole deal, I mean, Joey Gallo, he's a hit or miss. Like, he literally is the definition of a hit or miss player, like just with the immense power he has. I think he's going to play well in Yankee Stadium. Now, I don't know what his deal will be after the remainder of the season. I know, unfortunately, he's going to have to shave that glorious beard that he had going down in Texas, but it's a good ad. I think that it's getting to the point now where it's like, where are you going to put all these guys? But not a terrible move. Mm-hmm. I think the Yankees made, while they could have said, all right, we're going to try to maybe do like a quick rebuild on the fly here. As my friend on TikTok, Hey Kami, likes to say, the Yankees don't rebuild, they retool.
Mm-hmm. No, never rebuild as the Yankees. If you're a Yankees fan, you've never seen a rebuild.
No, never.
But I mean, that deal specifically just smells of desperation. All right, it reeks of I know Boone's there, but who else is the actual manager?
You mean general manager Brian Cashman?
Yeah. Cashman, yeah. This reeks of, if I don't make the playoffs, I'm going to lose my job. At least if I can make the playoffs, yes, we'll be out of the wild card, but I'll still have a job. This reeks of it.
Yeah, I mean, Cashman might be able to get away with it for one more year. I mean, especially since the Yankees did make a bid in the playoffs last season, but this is definitely not a good sign for them. I mean, obviously the talent that you're getting back is, a great piece of talent in return, but it does show some desperation, especially being as out of it as you are. Mm-hmm. It really shows that you're kind of just trying to throw anything at the wall at this point.
100%. White Sox acquire Ryan Tepera. Mariners get Dio Castillo, taking away somebody from the Rays. I will always appreciate that. But it seems like the Rays, it doesn't matter who you could put in there. We could put an Adam as a pitcher there. He's still going to have like a 4.7 ERA, and he's going to do just okay.
I think you really discount how bad Adam was, how bad of a pitcher Adam actually was.
I think you're discounting how good that the Rays are at just plugging in random people. And
this man in a Babe Ruth league had an ERA of 32. Like, you can't defend that. I'm sorry. Like, no. Maybe Rob, maybe you could go in there with your pitching experience. Adam, no, because the man literally had an ERA north of 30. I think eventually he got it down to I don't know, 12, and that was considered real nice right there. But 32 ERA, I don't think that's where we want to be plugging Adam.
Hey, I already I already talked to my boy, right? Brendan Salucci. I already talked to him. One of these days, we're gonna sort out something where him and I are gonna hang out, and he's gonna pitch to me. So I'm gonna see what it's like to face a 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
You're gonna die.
I'm
I
going
mean,
to crap myself. All right.
listen, all respect to Brendan. All respect to Brendan in the world. I mean, I could never throw a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, but you're gonna listen. If you're taking 98 from Scherzer, I'd be like, okay, cool. If you're taking 98 miles an hour from a single A pitcher, I mean, listen, Brendan, no offense, but there might be a reason why you're in single A right now. I pray to God it's not because of control issues.
Next, I end up like Kevin Pillar.
No, you'll end up like Tony Canigliaro, and it will just be
no.
It'll be like, what? Remember good old Robert Shelley? Yeah, now we talk like this.
I talk like Tyson.
Yeah, because you got your teeth bashed in.
Okay, so Dodgers acquired Danny Duffy from the Royals. Duffy famously tweeted, "Bury me a Royal" back in 2017. Jeez.
I mean, listen, back in 2017, it was 2 years after the World Series season. Things were still looking decent for them at this point. They've completely torn it down at this point. The only real glimmer of hope at this point is Salvador Perez and Whit Merrifield. That's really
Andrew Benintendi.
Yeah, unfortunately, R.I.P. Andrew Benintendi.
Not forgotten.
Really, it's a travesty. But getting him off to the Dodgers. Obviously, we'll talk about some of the bigger moves that they made in just a little bit. But you might plug him in as the 5 guy, or you might end up putting him in the bullpen. But if he ends up going into the rotation, I expect Tony Gonsolin will probably end up going to the bullpen, especially with, I think, him coming back from an injury. It would be a good way to get him in sort of a long relief role, kind of get him those elongated, stretches that he'd be used to, but you don't need to say, all right, give us 7.
Yeah, exactly. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. So I was just thinking, like, me and my friend have this joke, but it's really true, that if your organization has a player that they really don't like, right, or who has really gotten on their nerves, has requested a trade, right, where do you send them to make their life extremely miserable? Doesn't matter what sport. Where do you send them?
I mean, you could send...
You send them to Detroit.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I was about to say Arizona, like back in the day, like you that's where you'd send all the disgruntled vets, and sometimes they'd rally a playoff team like Kurt Warner did. But no, Detroit definitely is the wasteland. I was thinking Arizona just because of like just old retired guys like Emmitt Smith, basically trying to give it one last go out there. A bunch of other guys like that. But Detroit absolutely has just turned into the desolate wasteland of players.
Oh my God, it's literally like, you want to screw somebody's career over.
Detroit.
R.I.P. DeAndre Swift.
Very true.
Okay, then we had our second true Woj bomb. Yankees acquire Anthony Rizzo for Alexander Vizcaino. I think I pronounced that right.
I think it's Vizcaino.
Maybe. And Kevin Alcantara.
So
shut up. All right.
No, so the only reason I know that is because I think there used to be a Vizcaino on the Yankees, like back in I think the late 90s, early 2000s. I forget. I think it was like some other but it was some other guy just named Vizcaino. That's the only reason I know that pronunciation. But and then Alcantara, I've just learned that because of Sandy Alcantara on the Marlins. But yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? As part of this deal, the Yankees are not paying Rizzo a dime. Right? Nope. Chicago agreed to pay off the rest of Rizzo. But in doing that, you have now bumped up the number of top 30 prospects you have given up to 6. 6!
Yeah.
And these 2 guys were your number 9 and 12 guys. You've thrown away the entire future. It's just been, you want a future? You want a future? You want a future? Give me 1 year of a wild card and we'll make that happen.
I mean, well, I do agree that they are kind of throwing away the future in a little bit. I mean, they kind of unfortunately are in a win now situation, especially with guys like Stanton. It's not like Stanton's 37, he's going out the door, and all these guys are. It's kind of at the end. I mean, contract wise, that might become an issue, but a lot of guys you kind of have them in for like their primes right now, and I feel like the Yankees are like, we don't want to tear this down, so we unfortunately kind of have to go for it. But it's a very weird situation. Going off that as well, I think the Yankees, I think their farm system, I was listening to it yesterday on Boston Sports Radio. I think their farm system is going into this year was ranked like 20th in the MLB.
Yeah, they don't have a necessarily great farm system, and you're just taking the pieces that you have and throwing them out the window.
I mean, you could say that, and you could say that you're throwing them out the window, but maybe the 9th ranked prospect. I mean, I don't know who is the best farm system in baseball. Probably someone who's not really good at this point right now, like maybe like the Royals or something.
I'd say Baltimore probably. They have a decent.
Maybe Baltimore, maybe.
But then all those guys are traded to a real team by the time they're 26.
Yeah, so maybe it's either Baltimore, or it might be actually Washington now after seeing all that they got in return. But with the Yankees, maybe probably the 9th best prospect in the Yankee system, in probably the number 1 system in baseball, maybe doesn't even crack the top 15. I don't know what kind of
not even like top 25.
Yeah, maybe not even like that. So maybe the Yankees see it as, all right, like we can really kind of inflate this guy's stats and say like, oh, he's done all this for us and all this, but they probably know behind the scenes, oh, maybe he has this knee injury, or maybe he has this issue that, in any other system wouldn't be as, he wouldn't be as highly like touted, but in our system, because we're so sparse of talent, that's why he's inflated to that level. So that might be why.
Okay, and then we had literally 3 blockbuster trades back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Dodgers acquired Max Scherzer and Trey Turner for Keibert Ruiz, Josiah Gray, Gerardo Carrillo, and Donovan Casey. So basically, you got Scherzer and Turner for your top 2 prospects and 2 kind of mid prospects. Who do you feel wins that?
I mean, it all comes down to what happens right now. I mean, not the Red Sox, unfortunately. There'll be something I have to break to you after this. There is some Red Sox trade news that is coming through. But going into it though, the Dodgers, Scherzer, you're getting that last big stretch. So I think that you might get something out of it. And Trey Turner, that's going to be an interesting prospect too. I don't know exactly how he's going to fit in the infield with Corey Seager. But going into it, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm interested.
Okay, what's the Red Sox news?
The Red Sox, it just came in at 4:13 from Jeff Passan. The Red Sox have acquired pitcher Hansel Robles from the Minnesota Twins. It says Robles this year has gone 3-4 and has an ERA pretty much of 5.
like I said, all right. You get to the end of the night, you're very, very tipsy. All right. Like everything is moving like this.
Does have 10 saves on the year, so
we don't need him as a closer though.
But they're probably going to end up using him as a bullpen guy. So they're probably going to, yeah. So that's going to be how they end up doing it. I don't know if he's the setup guy now or what ends up happening there, but probably just another piece to add to the bullpen. We'll have to see how that's kind of a thing, ends up going out. Career wise, his ERA is down, is just north of 4. It's a 4.03 ERA.
Mm-hmm.
In 2018, it was down at 2.97 with the Angels. So there's something there.
I mean, maybe with a little less pressure on him, instead of being the true closer, maybe we throw him in as a 6th, 7th inning guy and we call it a day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too upset with that. I mean, but the five. Oh, but more Red Sox news.
Yeah, I just wanted to get that out there because that is some official news that is coming down with the Red Sox right now. So felt it was necessary to get that in here. But getting back to the Scherzer news and everything going on with that.
Who did we trade? Do you know?
I think it says it did come down. It was this guy's name's Brendan Sitler.
Oh, I would have shot you through the screen. Oh, I would have been pissed.
No, that would have been amazing. But I need to.
No, because that's the problem now. Every time I hear a trade coming through, I have to think: is it somebody that I know?
Yeah.
I'm
looking it up right now, though. I think it was for this pitcher. It was for pitcher Alex Sheriff is his name. Right-handed pitcher Alex Sheriff.
Never heard of him.
Me neither. So, it looks like the type of move that just probably some minor leaguer Heim saw the opportunity to get a guy now, and he just jumped on it. But kind of going back to the Scherzer news, I think it's a great move for the Dodgers. Now the question is, can they catch San Francisco? San Francisco's been the hottest team in the NL. I mean, is this kind of the kick in the pants that the Dodgers really need, especially with a guy like Trevor Bauer now facing his issues?
Yeah, we won't talk about that once again
Yeah,
until everything's settled. But
let's let the courts figure this out.
yeah,
But going into it, great move for LA. I mean, you could say you're giving up your 1 and 2 right now, but again, similar to New York, but not really as much since the Dodgers are in a winning situation. You have everyone going right now. Everyone is in the prime of their careers. It's a win now situation, and I think this is the type of move that the Red Sox had to make when they went for Chris Sale. They saw the opportunity and they had to say, all right, are we gonna hold on to Yohan Moncada, who is the number 1 prospect in baseball, or are we gonna go out and are we gonna get an ace? The Dodgers didn't necessarily get an ace, but they got 2 amazing players. And frankly, it was the deal of the deadline.
100%. I didn't even think Trey Turner was available.
I didn't either, but if you look at Washington right now, they're blowing that thing to smithereens. So it looks like anything was pretty much available.
Almost everything. Who's the one guy that kept? Why am I blanking on his name? Who'd they keep?
Well, it wasn't Josh Harrison because he got shipped to Oakland.
No, who's the one main guy that they kept? The shortstop. No, not shortstop. Second baseman.
No, not the shortstop, not the second baseman. I mean, I'm not necessarily sure at this point who they ended up keeping. I mean, it looks
Juan
like they
Soto.
got. Oh yeah, Juan Soto. Yeah, obviously they kept him. But he's the face of the franchise. They're not letting him go anytime soon.
It's literally the Washington Juan Sotos.
Yeah, literally. I mean, it's
that's where we're at right now.
The Washington one. So yeah.
Okay, so finally, the third deal: Red Sox acquire Kyle Schwarber from the Nationals for Aldo Ramirez, one of our top 20 prospects. Yes, but was still in Salem. How old was he?
I think 24, maybe. I can't confirm that. You would have to look that up. I don't have those exact numbers. He might be younger.
I'm still okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 100% okay with that. But getting him, Kyle Schwarber's still injured. We're looking at a couple more weeks before he's truly back on the field, ready to go. I don't mind it. I really don't. You know why?
Why?
Puts Hunter Renfroe on the bench.
Right? You want Hunter Renfroe on the bench?
As much as I like Hunter Renfroe, he's no Kevin Pillar. That's my dude.
I will say this. I was looking at Kevin Pillar coming into this point, and I thought he was going to be hitting down at 193 and have the amount of home runs that he has. But the guy's hitting 253. He's hitting league average of what typically you expect it to be, and he's. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, he's been a plus. So I think I think Renfroe is going to be staying in the lineup. But the one thing I'm concerned about now is now what the hell do you do with Kyle Schwarber? Obviously you expect him to play the outfield, DH, but unfortunately we do have one of those and a pretty good one at that.
Pretty damn good one.
Yeah, we have a damn good one. So it's just the man has played one career game at first base. I don't know if he's necessarily good there, and maybe they wanted to, the Nationals wanted to try out more of that before he ended up going down with an injury. But I know he has some experience with catching. I don't think that he'll be the guy behind the plate, but maybe it gets to the World Series, and knock on wood, I'm just saying you get to a series where you have to have your pitcher bat, and you kind of have to make a decision, and maybe it ends up going that to get that extra offense in the lineup, that maybe you end up switching, maybe you end up putting them down to catchers or do something like that to get the best possible bats in the lineup.
Mm-hmm. No, I could see really any way that could go, but I think for right now, solidified once he gets back from injury, solidified right fielder. All right, just leave him there. Let him get used to the offense. Let him get used to his new role. By the time October hits, he'll be running with us. Right? No need. If he gets out to a 150, 160 start, I won't be, after 2 weeks, I'm not going to be worried at all. Because A, he's on a new team. B, he's coming back from injury. By the end of the season, though, I guarantee you he's batting probably about 310.
You think so?
On the stretch from the final month of the season, I'm saying he's batting around 310. Really?
All right, I'm going to take your word at that. The reason I think Heim was able to make this move, if it was the Kyle Schwarber of a month ago where he was hitting at that level, I don't think it would have been tough for a lot of teams to get him. But the only reason that Heim I think was able to pull this trigger with letting go of a prospect here was because it was such a it was a top 20 prospect, but literally by one margin. if it had been anything inside the top 15, I don't think Heim budges there. And, the only reason I think he was able to get him was due to this injury. So it kind of makes me worried now looking at the end of this deadline and not seeing anything. If Kyle Schwarber had been healthy, it makes me nervous as to what Heim would have done here. It really does make me nervous. You saw the news as well. Chris Bryant officially a member of the San Francisco Giants. It's officially coming down now. I wanted to break it during the show, but I did want to talk about that. He'll be officially going there. So Rob is now viewing it now, but now coming in from, I believe it's Mark Feinstein of MLB.com. The Giants have acquired infielder and outfielder Chris Bryant from the Chicago Cubs in exchange for outfielder Alexander Canario, right-handed pitcher Caleb Killian, sources tell MLB.com. So that's the big news that Rob is reacting to on that side right now. I know you guys probably can't see him, but wow, what a last minute move there.
Damn. I know talks have been going between the two sides, but I honestly didn't think they'd get a deal done. I thought the Giants would be too stingy.
I thought I figured a deal was coming. I didn't know if it was going to be with the Giants or who at this point, but I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, but Chris Bryant at the end of the game against the Reds, he was looking out at the field, and the camera was trained on him, and you knew it was his last time in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. That's just sad.
He knew as well. It's very sad.
Mm-hmm. No, what was more sad is watching watching Rizzo go around Wrigley Field taking photos.
That is very sad. I mean, he literally said he wanted to die a Cub, and he even said, "Hey, if the ship's going down with this team," I think this is a direct quote from him. He ended up saying, "If the ship's going down, I want to burn with the ship going down." Like he did not care. He wanted to stay, even if it meant him being part of a rebuild that he would not see the end of. He was willing to do it, and unfortunately, Chicago did have other plans, and they made out well on that side.
Mm-hmm. It's just sad. What could have been with that team? That was a dynasty in the making.
Mm-hmm.
Then everything went not into that, but y'all know what I mean. Everything just went down. Next trade we got: Blue Jays acquire Jose Barrios from the Twins for their number for the number 2 and number 4 prospect in the Blue Jays system, Austin Martin and Simeon Woods Richardson. That is a steep asking price, considering Simeon Woods Richardson is only 17 years old.
Jesus.
No, never mind. He's 19.
Okay, but I mean, still, that's pretty. He's got a long track record ahead for himself. The man could literally play another 20 years of baseball if everything pans out.
And he's a starter in Double-A right now.
Yeah. So I mean, the sky's the limit for this guy. That was very surprising. I as soon as I saw that was what it was, that was what it took to acquire a guy like this, I knew Heim definitely wasn't going to budge. Mm-hmm. I mean, unfortunately, Heim Bloom is going to hold on to everything for dear life, and I'm not happy about it, but that is the case.
Mm-hmm. No, I get that. I mean, that at that asking price, I think we just go another way. Oh, finally, a great trade that happened. All right. Braves acquire Eddie Rosario and cash from the Indians for a first base, third base menace. The Panda. Pablo Sandoval.
Screw that guy.
Screw that guy.
Screw Pablo Sandoval. That man got me blocked on Instagram. He didn't block my Instagram, but he reported me.
For what?
I have no idea, but so literally, this was when Pablo Sandoval first came to the Red Sox around 2015, and I can't believe I haven't told you this story yet, but it was in 2015, and Pablo Sandoval ends up going to the Red Sox, and I'm like really pumped about it. I'm like, the Panda's here. I'm so pumped. It's before he's even played a game, and he's like posting like a bunch of like Red Sox stuff going on. And I end up like commenting under like a glove of his, like, cause he posted like a Red Sox themed glove at one point. And I ended up commenting and I go, "Oh my God, that's so sick." And I think I said something like that. And literally I get a report like 5 minutes later and it says your account has been reported for abusive content.
What?
Yeah, no, it doesn't compute. But apparently Pablo Sandoval got my account banned for 24 hours, and I wasn't allowed to like or comment anything for 24 hours because of that.
Okay, screw that guy.
Yeah, no, really, with a wire brush. No, I don't get it.
Whoa. All right, we just went there. All right, moving on. There's no saving the segment anymore.
No, there isn't. There's really no saving it, Rob.
Cleveland takes back Sandoval, who has just started 6 games this season and isn't likely to play a big role. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Braves acquire Adam Duvall from the Marlins for Alex Jackson. Adam Duvall, with Acuna out for the rest of the season, which sucks.
Yeah.
But, still, you traded your going back to the Marlins as Jackson, number 6 overall pick in 2014, and a former top prospect. Okay, so he's nothing anymore.
Yeah, listen, Adam Duvall, MLB The Show legend. Anything outside of that, unfortunately, it's kind of a done deal there. I have reached out to Adam Duvall for an interview. He has yet to reach back. He has yet to get back to me. So, Adam, if you're watching the show, this is kind of my application to you. Please appear on Down the Wire. I'm pleading to you now. So, yeah,
we will talk to you and we will ask, why do you suck? Okay, that will be basically the entire interview.
Rob, I'm trying to do my part here.
White Sox. This man went to the wrong Sox. We were like, come back to us. Come back. Remember those good old days? Let's relive them.
Yeah, we were noticing those good old days, especially with obviously the man, the myth, the legend, Craig Kimbrell. It would have been amazing to see him back here in Fenway. I would have loved to see that fiery entrance once again, and I literally do mean fiery when I talk about that Craig Kimbrell entrance. Was something of legend. I really, really do miss it. And while I thought he had fallen off the face of the planet, he completely revived himself this year, and I would have loved to see him back.
Mm-hmm. Let me see if the guys they got for him weren't even top prospects, so we could have made that deal.
Oh, absolutely. It pisses me off that Heim didn't. And while I like Matt Barnes, Craig Kimbrell is proven in that role. He doesn't crumble under pressure like that, especially this year with the historic season that he's having.
After that, to Big Apple, just got probably the greatest, or one of the greater, middle infield combos in the league. That's just, you can't really say anything. That's Baez and Lindor.
Yeah, El Mago is coming to NYC. I'm really pumped to see it. Little fun fact is that Baez and Lindor had played in the infield with each other during the 2017 World Baseball Classic. So it's a middle infield that we've seen before when with Puerto Rico. I'm excited to see it. It looks like a nice little matchup. I know he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season, but all in all, like, each team really feels like they have a shot this year, and they're all basically every squad is trying to load up at the deadline, which is I love it.
Mm-hmm. Which I get behind. But I was talking to a friend of mine who's a diehard Mets fan, and he was telling me, "Oh yeah, we're going to the World Series now. Now that we got Baez, we're going to the World Series." I'm like, "You're not even the 4th best team. You're the 4th best team in the NL. You ain't going no. You're gonna lose to the Padres in the 2nd round, and you're gonna like it." Like, I don't see a world where the Mets, out of all 4 of Dodgers, Padres, Mets, and Giants, I don't see a world where Mets make it out of there.
Unless Jacob deGrom pitches every single game, then yeah.
Oh, if he pitched every single game, then God help us all.
Yeah, right? they wouldn't lose again.
And here's the thing.
He could pitch with his left hand. He'd still do it.
Here's the thing. They traded their number 5 prospect. A dude named Pete Crow Armstrong.
That literally sounds like a video game character.
True. A's acquire Yan Gomes and Josh Harrison from the Nationals for Drew Milas, Seth Schumann, and Richard Gauch. Nothing on those. They gave up 1 top 30 prospect.
Jesus. That's insane. I mean, I don't know if I don't know if I'm just getting older as a baseball fan at this point, but I'm just hearing some of these names and I'm just like, do any of the, do you expect to be hearing any of those guys getting cheers from fans in the next 5 years? I hate to say it, but like I can't imagine seeing these guys in the big leagues.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, watch one of them be Mike Trout, and I'm just an idiot. But
True. Phillies got Kyle Gibson, Ian Kennedy, got a couple pitchers, gave up a couple pitchers. J.A. Happ to the Cardinals. Not bad. I mean, Cardinals, obviously no contenders, but.
I mean, it's not a bad move. I would have loved to see it. I mean, the Cardinals actually got some pitching, so I would have really enjoyed it.
Screw Andrew Heaney. All right, let me see if there's anything else that went through the cracks for us. Where's that? Andrew Heaney. Brewers acquired John Curtis. I don't know who that is. Cardinals acquired John Lester for Lane Thomas. Nationals just throwing away everything. But John Lester is 37. All right, it wasn't going to take anything to get him.
Rob, I do have another Red Sox trade to announce.
Oh,
this is a big one for us. The Boston Red Sox have traded infielder Michael Chavis to the Pittsburgh Pirates in exchange for pitcher Austin Davis.
Oh God. Oh God. Mm-hmm. Oh God.
Yeah. The ice horse is now in the Steel City.
Oh my God. That's another place with Detroit. Screw you, you're going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. No, I mean he's going to Pittsburgh, and you're not gonna like this either. Austin Davis hasn't necessarily had the best season either this year.
What position does Austin Davis play? Is he a pitcher?
Austin Davis?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a pitcher this year. Had a solid 2020, had a 2.45 ERA. That ERA, however, that was only through 5 games. Through 10 this year, his ERA has ballooned to 5.59.
Damn. All right, so I need you to entertain the people for a minute. I will be right back with that news. Just hold on. What's the next trade that we got to talk about? Yeah, everything else we talked about, the Chris Bryant one. But yeah, just tell the people, and then I'll do the same once I get back. Tell the people about why, if you thought we should have kept Michael Chavis, and I will come back and I will say why it was a good idea to get rid of him. Sound good?
Yeah, I'll get into it. Yeah, I'll discuss it.
All right.
So, going into the whole Chavis thing, I assume that Rob is going to come in. He's going to talk about why they should have kept him, or why he should have left. Rather, I do see why they got rid of him at this point. It's unfortunate. I really liked what Michael Chavis had here in Boston, but towards the end, he ended up just kind of falling out of favor this year. He had an ERA of not an ERA, rather a batting average of 190. Only had 2 home runs in the year. Unfortunately, was just being sent back and forth between Pittsburgh, not between Pittsburgh, but between Worcester and Boston. And from the get-go, at least from spring training, it really looked like Chaim Bloom was trying to push this guy out the door. I don't know about Rob. I'll ask him when he gets back in here. But from the get-go, it looked like they were not trying to let this guy in. It's a damn shame. I wish that things had worked out better for him, but it's pretty crazy news. All in all, though, pretty disappointed though. I mean, all in all, this deadline, it's really just not what I wanted from the Red Sox. And I'll let Rob discuss this when he gets back on. But you look at the Boston Red Sox this year, and you have the best team in the American League. You have such great potential, and when you do stuff like this, it just really pisses me off. And Rob is now back in the building. I'll let him get back into it now. I was discussing why I think it was a good idea to trade away Michael Chavis, but while you're bringing in guys like this that have not had the best seasons, I don't really appreciate it that much. I think it's not the greatest look.
But Michael Chavis hasn't had the greatest of seasons.
No, Michael Chavis has not had the greatest of seasons. But when you're acquiring guys who have ERAs in the 5s and 6s, you're not really improving your bullpen, in my opinion. You've really got to go out there and get a guy who could actually be an impact player.
But here's the problem: there is no true room for Chavis, and with him struggling,
and that's what
his
I was
market
discussing.
was down at a low.
That's what I was discussing at this time. I think this deal was more a selling of Chavis than a buying of this pitcher, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. No, I can 100% I can see that. But
because during your absence, I was saying that Chavis has really kind of just seemed like a it seems like he was kind of the odd man out from the get go. Heim, I don't know if he had necessarily a vendetta against the guy, but it really just hasn't really gotten a fair shake in my opinion in some time. Has been really just sent down to Worcester, sent back up here, and I hope that he can work things out. But since 2019, it's kind of just it really has never really materialized.
Yeah, no, I can see that. But what I wanted to say is over the next 5-6 years, you look at our first baseman, third baseman. Do you really see a spot for Chavis?
No, I don't see a spot for Chavis, and I'm not mad about the move. I'm not mad about the move. I am just mad about the deadline in general, and that's something I've discussed. I discussed in your absence. But yeah, it's just. I mean, in all, though, this deadline has been absolutely mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all the teams going at it.
Here's the problem: every team that went for a player, right? The big blockbuster moves. How many of those guys are signed for more than after next year?
Not a lot,
right? We went.
I think Barrios is around for one more year with the Blue Jays, so there is a chance that they could recruit him to stay a little longer.
Yep.
But outside of that, I know Scherzer I think is out
Scherzer's on a 1.
Unless he opts into something, but I think he's out. I think Trey Turner might be out.
Turner's due for a max.
Yeah, Turner will be out. A bunch of guys are going to be out at this point. So I think that a lot of these guys are rentals, but I think that, and while I'm not saying they give up the entire farm for guys, I think that you should at least, I think, every team in the AL and every team in the MLB, frankly, that's in the playoff contention, they made moves at the deadline. They really, went out there to get better. And, I don't think that Austin Davis and Hansel Robles are the answers pitching wise.
They're not the answers, but we're looking long term.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking long term, but we've had a gift of a season this year. And I'm just we've had a gift of a season this year. No one thought the Red Sox were going to be doing as well as they are. I certainly did not, especially after the terrible season they had last year. I mean, you have the best team in the American League. You've guys playing their asses off this year. And I mean, just frankly, I think going into it, you want to show to these guys that you care. And while I'm excited for Chris Sale to come back, I really am excited to see what he looks like in August. I think that you could have gone out there and gotten another guy. Well, I'm not saying to sell the farm for Max Scherzer or guys like that. There could have been a guy out there.
Mm-hmm. No, you don't. I mean, because right now, it's us and the Giants, two teams that are significantly outperforming some of the powerhouses. I mean, because going into it, we all thought it would be a Yankees, Dodgers, Yankees, Yankees, Padres. Maybe you had the Astros winning it or the White Sox, maybe one of those teams making it out. But us, you could put the Rays in there, and the Giants, all overperforming with less talent to work with, right? Mm. But at the same time, not only do we have talent now that is proven to win with the right coach and right manager, but at the same time, we have a future. And we cannot throw away a future to try and ride with these teams now. Like I said, and I will stick to it, our World Series window is 2023 to 2024. I think we will be in a World Series and win a World Series within that time. These teams are buying for now. I mean, the Dodgers and the Yankees, yes, I can always rebuy and make it, the next year. Those teams will never be out of contention. But the Padres, do you really expect them to still be in contention 3 years from now?
I think they definitely have a shot, especially with, I don't know the contract situation of a bunch of their guys, but I think they still have a shot to be in it, especially with their core. And I assume there's going to be some guys at least coming up, especially with, since they didn't give up Scherzer, they still at least have some prospects of some value in their system.
The Giants, are you expecting them to be a top team in 3 years?
The Giants, not necessarily, because I think that Crawford will be out the door at that point. I think that a decent part of their core will be gone, especially I don't think Chris Bryant's sticking around at the end of this year. But I think that the Giants, they're an interesting group this year. I think they're outperforming. Well, kind of as I think the Red Sox are outperforming. And, with guys like this, it's not like a 2013 team where you had guys kind of like, rallying on a city and stuff like that. But there is kind of a rally aspect with this team where it's like you didn't expect them to have this kind of energy. And they're going into it and they have this sort of unique flair about themselves that, a lot of people didn't expect. And I think that at the deadline, while Kyle Schwarber is a great fit, I hope that I hope we can find a place for him in the actual field and we can utilize him like that. I think that, an arm would have been of use for us.
Mm-hmm. No, but
I'm not saying it has to be Max Scherzer. I'm just saying like, or even Jose Barrios. I'm just saying, had we gotten like a, even a 3 or a 4 starter, I'm not saying that we have to, go crazy here at the deadline, but if we get a guy and we can say like, all right, this guy is a legitimate starter in the big leagues. And, I don't know how much it costs the Dodgers to get a guy like Danny Duffy or a guy like Andrew Heaney for the Yankees, but those necessarily aren't like groundbreaking moves, but you can maybe do something like that.
Mm-hmm. So out of 10, out of 100, right? How are you grading this?
The trade deadline in general for the Red Sox? For the Red Sox, I mean, I'll do it out of 10 because I think that's probably the best way to kind of grade it. I'll give them a 5 because you know what they got. I'll give them a 5 for the trade deadline because you got half of what you needed. You got a big power bat that I hope that can work at first base. I think that Anthony Rizzo probably would have been a better fit, but I like what Kyle Schwarber can bring to this team offensive wise. But but I'm going to give you a 5 because you got half of what you needed. Mm-hmm. Had you gotten a legitimate, arm, I'm not saying it had to be Barrios or Scherzer, but had you gotten a legitimate arm, maybe that puts you at an 8, or maybe that even puts you over the top and I give you a 10 out of 10 for the deadline for a guy like Chaim Bloom. But, you missed out on a starter. And I hope that Chris Sale can come back. But you're really leaning on a guy coming off of Tommy John surgery 2 years ago and just hoping that everything goes according to plan. You're hoping there's 0 setbacks. I hope there are 0 setbacks, but things happen. The guy's human, and he weighs 100 pounds soaking wet. So I hope that works itself out.
Here's the thing that I'm seeing also, right? Comparing last year's trade deadline to this year's trade deadline, seeing as where the teams are and what they were competing for, which one did you think the team did better in?
Could you rephrase that? I mean, what are you exactly?
So last year, right, we were a selling team. We were selling.
Oh yeah,
right. After trade deadline, we sold. So our goal was to get good prospects. This year is to compete. Mm-hmm. Which trade deadline do you think better accomplished those goals? Do you think this year worked more with trading or with buying and getting more assets, or last year worked better with selling?
I mean, well, I wasn't necessarily happy with a lot of the pieces we sold. I think that, I think the sale of Brandon Workman did end up working itself out, especially with him being on a kind of a limited contract there. That worked itself out. Getting a guy like Pivetta, who's been pretty solid for us this year. I think Chaim, he's a small market guy, so he's used to unfortunately having to sell. So I think that is something that, kind of is more kind of ingrained in his DNA. So I think that when, but you're never really going to go to the Tampa Bay Rays and say, oh, we need to go and we need to get this ace. Nelson Cruz would actually surprise me when they got him. I was genuinely surprised when the Rays got him, but he's 41. And, had this been the Nelson Cruz of, 5-6 years ago, I don't think they go out and they get that guy. But, looking at them this year, they ended up getting him, but did they go out and did they get Max Scherzer? No. Did they get Chris Bryant? No. They're not going to be in that type of a market. But when the Rays were blowing it up and they said, all right, we got to trade Longoria, we got to trade Price, we got to trade all these guys, that was something they did, and they got a great haul for it. When they traded Chris Archer, I think they got what they get Glasnow, and they got a bunch of other guys in return, Austin Meadows, I believe. Yeah. They got a great return, and they got a great return for it. They're good at doing that, and that was Chaim's specialty. When it comes to now saying, all right, we're in the driver's seat this year, we're really taking over, let's go get a guy at the deadline, instead of saying instead of just rolling what we got. I don't know if that's in Chaim's DNA to say, all right, I'm going to pull the trigger. I think we're lucky that we got Kyle Schwarber because of his injury. I don't know if we end up going. I don't know if we would have gotten anyone this year if not for that injury to Kyle Schwarber. I really kind of do think that. So I'll give him a 5 out of 10, but am kind of disappointed.
I can say that. Hold on, what are my friends texting me about? The trade deadline. I still can't believe we traded Chavis.
I can't either. That literally just came down.
That sucks. Sometimes though, gotta make hard moves. Right. Yeah. But I think the one trade that really killed it last year was the Workman trade. You got Nick Pivetta, but you also got Connor Siebold.
Yeah. And we'll see how he works. We'll see how he works out, but yeah.
Young guy with a ton of potential up in Portland. Right? Portland Day. So we got a great deal there. For this trade deadline, for what we needed to accomplish, out of 100, I'm giving them a 73.
A 73. All right. I mean,
I'm giving honestly, them a C minus.
I can see that. And thinking about that in terms of a grade, I can understand that. Now, I mean, if I was doing it out of 100 scale, maybe I'm more in that ballpark, but I'm going to give them the 5 out of 10 just because it's just because I'm like, you got half of what you needed. You could have gotten the other half, but that's where you are. So yeah, I respect that though.
As an MLB fan, how would you grade the entertainment value of this offseason?
100. I mean, it was a crazy deadline. One of the better ones in years, in my opinion. You've had some absolute snooze fests in the past. While Trevor Story didn't end up going off the market, maybe that remains to be seen. I doubt it at this point. But, incredible deadline day.
Mm-hmm. No. I'm giving it like 112. Right? Mainly because, how when you were younger and, your teachers would give you bonus points for just random stuff and then put the stickers on your paper saying you're a star, right? That's having Trey Turner dealt. That's what that got you. That got you some bonus points and a sticker saying awesome job with a smiley face star in it. That's what that got. Nice. All right. But we've been rocking for just about an hour now.
I'd say so. Right?
It's been about that long. So as of right now, like I said, the Red Sox are still whooping over. We're not going to talk about the game last night.
No
need.
It's not worth it. It's not worth our sanity.
What game? I mean, this been a good episode. We're not gonna talk about that. Last thing I do want to talk about is over in the basketball world. Over the past, especially in 2020, right? The NBA, before all the stuff happened and we got shut down, the NBA was known as big twos, right? You had a superstar duo. No team really had a big three anymore. Those days were kind of done. We got out of that era. Teams were going back to the big duos, right? Giannis and Chris Middleton, KD, Kyrie, LeBron, AD, right? We were back into that kind of style. And then the Nets joined up and then they got a big three. And now the Lakers are joining up and they're getting a big three. I never thought Russell Westbrook would voluntarily take that back seat. I mean, obviously he was traded. He didn't really have a say in where, but I thought he would have opposed it. I'm pretty sure he had a no trade clause in his contract, which he had to waive. No, he didn't, because then he wouldn't have wanted to go to Washington.
Yeah, I was about to say there's no way in hell he would have wanted to go there.
Screw the Wizards. Yep, so Russell Westbrook is traded. And even after that, Bradley Beal said, I don't want to be traded. I want to stay. Why? Why do you voluntarily put yourself through that hell?
I mean, this guy wants to be the face of Washington. He wants to be in it. I respect that grind, Well, I'd much rather have you as a member of the Boston Celtics. I respect it. It's kind of that Anthony Rizzo boat. It's like, listen, I want to be here.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking he's thinking more along the lines of, okay, if I can never win a championship, I'm going to get my number retired here. And he'll call that a successful career.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind it. If I was in his shoes, you make max contract, never win a championship, don't really win that many yearly awards, but
yeah, I mean, hell,
your team.
Oh yeah, and you become a legend in your city. You could do that, and then maybe when he's like 36 or whatnot, then he says, "All right, I'm gonna ring chase. Send me to whoever's the Warriors of 2030, whatever."
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. But what do you feel do you feel this is automatically a Nets Lakers finals next year?
You know, I want to avoid it. I think the Nets are so toxic that I hope it blows up right in their face. And I wonder what LeBron's going to look like next year. I mean, I know the guy's going to be like 36,
37.
He's going to be 37 next year. I mean, he is LeBron. He's built like a brick house. So I mean, I'll give it all to him, but it's definitely going to be more. I think the Lakers are definitely going to be more Anthony Davis, centered, going forward. And
here's the problem, right? Name me somebody else that's on the Lakers now.
Yeah, especially with Kuzma gone. I was about to say Paul. You can
three.
I'll give you Westbrook. I mean, obviously Westbrook, LeBron, AD, and then the only other guy I can think of is Andre Drummond.
He's not on the team anymore.
Andre Drummond said that he's going to be on the team.
His contract expired, so as of now, he's not on the team. He can always resign.
Yeah, I think it's looking like he's going to resign, but because I was seeing the potential starting lineup and I saw him in there. So besides that, though, I really have no idea.
As of guys on the team right now, they have three others.
Yeah, I have no idea then.
Three others currently on contract: Taylor Horton Tucker, Marc Gasol, and undrafted free agent Mac McClung.
Nice.
That's it. That's all you got. Right. I just don't know. I think this is a recreation of the Heat dynasty, but not good, not as good, not nearly as good. That big three can't drive an entire team. They're good, they're great. They're going to be one of the best teams in the league, but I don't see just the durability being able to keep up with them. Only having three guys, one being 36, one being 32, one being 29, 30, and the bench being the old folks home.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to see what happens there. Now, I don't think Russell Westbrook is any Mario Chalmers.
No, Russell Westbrook ain't no Chris Bosh. Hey,
very true.
AD ain't no D Wade. LeBron's not the LeBron he used to be.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's it makes me wonder: is this going to be like the Houston Rockets of the very, very late '90s when they had Charles Barkley, Scottie Pippen, and Clyde Drexler? It could be something like that where you think it's going to be a super team and it kind of just blows up in your face.
Yeah, I can see that.
That remains to be seen.
With that being said, you got anything else to say to people before we sign off?
I think I'm good. I mean, obviously, if you haven't followed Down to the Wire at this point, make sure you go follow us on all social media platforms. The main hub you can reach us is our Instagram. You can follow that at down.to-the-wire. Again, at down.to-the-wire. All in all, though, it's great episode. Really, really glad to have you on. Really glad to be on with you, Rob.
At the same time, right? If you're not following him, what are you doing at this point? All right, I need you to just go sit in the corner, think about what you've done. All right, come back
and while you're sitting there, go follow me.
Come back. No, they're gonna sit in the corner and they're gonna think about what they've done. Then they're gonna come back in 25 minutes. Then they're gonna follow you.
Rob, that's delaying my followers.
You're gonna get them either way. All right, they need to think about their actions.
But it's 25 minutes.
I really don't care. You can wait 25 minutes. With that being said,
I cannot, sir.
With that being said, thank you guys so much for listening. It's been a crazy trade deadline, and I am here for it. All right, I was sitting here eating my popcorn, enjoying my day off. I was so lucky I had Thursday as a day off, so I could literally just sit here, look at my phone, and scroll through, seeing the new. And I had today off too, so I had Thursday and Friday off. Finally, all right. And I think for the fans who stuck around, I think I'm gonna start putting out episodes on Thursday because that's when I have my day off from work. They'll probably change in about a month. We'll see, most likely. But that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you guys. Let's roll that outro music. See you in the next one.